I've been finding that there's a lot of parallels between the way that I've been thinking and how a lot of things are playing out. And one specific way that is turning out to be the upcoming Healthy Living EXPO in Virginia Beach on May 2nd and May 3rd this year, 2026. Because in my system, my style, if you will, I'll call it that, most people can relate to it that way, of martial arts, which is called KappaGuerra. That's KappaGuerra, but all one word. KappaGuerra. My KappaGuerra martial arts is based on capoeira, but it breaks it into three distinct parts. But I'll get into that maybe later. But the main point is that one of the ways I've been thinking about it and how I've been building up this community is that it's an alternative type of way to party. You know, a lot of people, they want to go out to nightclubs and there's music, right? So you would think that people want to dance, right? So people want to go out dancing. Well, capoeira is in part a dance, and it's also a game. So we have this combination of a dance and a game and a martial art. So there are martial arts movements that are used in the dance and the game, but they have three distinct parts. But what I'm positioning my KappaGuerra as is another way to party. So on the weekends, even at night, you know, when people would normally be going out to a bar and drinking and, you know, overeating junk food, and which a lot of it happens, if you notice, if you drive around late at night, like how when I was delivering with DoorDash or when I was doing Uber, and the fast food restaurants, the Taco Bells, the McDonald's, the Burger Kings, you know, all of those places would have lines where people were waiting like 30, 45 minutes, an hour to get food, or they'd be inside if the places were still open. And so instead of doing that, imagine that you go out and you're using your body, getting some exercise, but also partying a little bit because you're dancing and playing a game. I mean, aren't dancing and playing the two definitions of things that are fun, right? So if you want to actually really have fun, then playing games and dancing are two really fun things. And this dance and this game happen to make use of martial arts movements, and in a way where you can be cooperative or competitive or a combination of the two. Because the way that I have separated the dance, the game, and the martial art of my system called KappaGuerra is that the dance is cooperative. You and your partner are there to edify each other, just like you would be doing if you were with your partner and you were attempting to win a dance competition. Your job together would be to work together cooperatively to put on the best show that you possibly can. So it's all about edification. It's all about making each other look good and feel good. But in this case, you're doing it while practicing some really cool martial arts movements and getting some great exercise, which, you know, dance very often is great exercise. And then the game aspect of it is competitive, where you and your opponent are vying for position using skill and timing to score points on the other person by sweeping them off their feet so that they land on their butt and or their back. Doing it as elegantly and gently as possible, not using brute force. You're not knocking them out. You're simply just knocking them off balance, and that's the competitive part. And the martial art is anything goes. You can use both the aspects of cooperation and competition and all of the movements that go into that, and then add anything you want to it. It doesn't matter. Any movements, any strikes, any grapples, any takedowns, any weapons, any part of your environment, all goes into the martial art of capoeira. But in KappaGuerra, my style, my system, really makes use of those delineations and breaks them apart into their very distinct layers and pieces and components, so that you can have a clear distinction of what you want to do. What is your level of participation? Do you want to just dance? Do Do you want to just play? Do you want to learn self-defense and combat? Do you want to do all three? All of that's available. Plus, singing in a different language, playing instruments. So all of that is available. And that's what makes this art form so special. And why I've been doing it for 34 years. And it's kept me really super healthy. I have a very high level of athletic longevity. I'm 48 years old. And I'm still literally doing backflips and barrel rolls, 540-degree spins through the air, launching myself off the ground in some quite impressive ways. Even when I'm looking at it, I'm impressed with myself. When other people see it, I just saw, my service advisor Shannon over at Hall Toyota in Virginia Beach, where my brother Malin is a car salesman. So you might want to hit him up if you're looking for a new car, looking for a new Toyota. Is a salesman there. That's where I got my car from. But I was talking to Shannon. She's like, we're both turning 49 this year. And I said, yeah. And then I had like a little lapse because I was multitasking and I forgot something. I was like, I was going to say something. She's like, it's that age. I was like, no, it's not. I was like, no, it is not. I said, age doesn't affect me like other people. I'm being arrogant here. And then I showed her a video of me hitting backflips and spinning through the air. And she said, I can't do any of that. I said, most people can't. Most people don't. Well, it's not that most people can't. It's most people don't. And I asked the question, what do you mean can't? And I didn't ask her that, but that's just one of the 4 pillars of something that one of the things my mom used to say all the time. The first one was everything happens for a reason. Number 2 is there's always room for improvement, which is one of my favorite ones. Number 3 is do what you love and the money will follow. And number 4 is what do you mean can't? So, I asked that question. Sometimes can't is true. I have no legs. I can't do backflips. Okay, well, I get that. But there are some people who don't have legs who do backflips. They just do it in a different way, right? So the question is very interesting. Asking a question, what do you mean can't? Like, what do you really mean? And are there ways around it? Life is difficult. It's not easy. It's very, very hard in so many different ways. It can be discouraging. It can be, cause anxiety. It can be depressing. I know. I'm alive, just like a lot of other people are here, and it's not easy at all. There's a lot of simple things and things that you can do specifically in physical fitness, and cultivating artistic talent, and and building a resilient philosophy that definitely make things feel like they're easier in comparison. But life is there's nothing easy about it. There's nothing easy about this existence, about this life that we live. It's hard, and nobody should make light of this at all. But there's a lot of things that we can do that remove some of the challenging feelings and the friction and the anxiety, because a lot of the stuff really that when you boil it down is that it's the way that we emotionally feel a lot of times about the things that we're doing that make it more difficult. It's not necessarily the physical labor, although that can be a burden sometimes, but that contributes. There's a whole loop to the way that we feel. There's a whole loop to everything that works. It's like self-reinforcing. So what I mean by that is the more physically fit you are and actually really healthy, like internally, like your organs, like your body, your metabolic functions and everything like that, not just superficial, because you can get a lot of superficial things from taking injections, from doing surgeries, from gacking down pills, from all kind of stuff, from makeup, all kind of things on the outside, from doing certain kind of workouts like a bodybuilder. There are things you can do that change the way you look on the outside, but that don't necessarily have internal value to your actual health, and it's just superficial. What I'm talking about is actual metabolic, physiological health. And so and when you do that, it affects the way that you psychologically, mentally feel. You feel better. And also, when you're motivated and you feel better, it can affect you positively in your physical body. And so all of that needs to be taken into consideration. Everything that we do has an effect on some other system in our body. Our life systems don't exist in isolation from each other. One thing affects the other. The way that you think and feel affects your body. Your body affects the way that you think and feel. And so all of the things that we think, say, and do can be carefully cultivated, because it's going to have some effect on the other. The things that we say are going to affect how we think and how we physically feel. The way we physically feel and the things that we physically do are going to affect the things that we think and the things that we say. The things that we think are going to affect what we say and what we do. So all of it is very important to be very conscious about how we curate our thoughts and experiences. And again, it's simple, but it's not easy. The whole world around us, it seems like it's impinging on us to do something completely different than those things that are good for our healthy living and wellness. And that's why I often find that healthy living is almost synonymous with self-defense. The healthier you live, the more defense, the stronger, the more resilient you are against the environment and a lot of the things that are out there distracting us. And this is why I'm really excited, and I'm making it a priority to just talk more and more about the Healthy Living Expo that is coming up in Virginia Beach on May 2nd and May 3rd, 2026, where I will be speaking, presenting, demonstrating capoeira, and holding workshops through my system KappaGuerra, because I found that after over 3 decades, it's just amazing that I've actually been playing capoeira this long, for 34 years, since 1992, that my body's still allowing me to do backflips and spins, things that people don't normally think about, because we're told as we get older that we're supposed to break down in a certain way and not have the kind of physique or capabilities and mobility that we did in younger years. And I'm finding that that's just absolutely not true, and I'm glad that I stuck with my training the way that I have, because it's proven to be a very valuable asset. It really does make so many other things in life feel easier. Life is difficult, but when you're not struggling against your physical body, it's like one less thing to be concerned about. I just move about the world physically much easier than I would if I had too much extra weight, if my joints were stiff, if I was suffering from arthritis, if I had all these other things going on. But because of clean living, and I do have to say it's relatively clean living, because not everything is as clean as I would like it to be. There's sometimes that I have snacks that I look at the ingredients sometimes and I think, I don't know if I really want this. And the only reason is just because I'm somewhat paranoid. I'm very aware of what I'm putting in my body, and sometimes that comes from, when I say relatively clean, is because I didn't necessarily look up and define what ingredient was, and it could just be just some scientific name for something I haven't identified yet, because there are a few things that I don't recognize. There's a lot that I do, and most words I can break apart what they mean, but even when I know what they mean, sometimes I don't know what their actual function biologically is. But that's really geeky stuff. But it's all just part of the fact that I am really aware of what I'm putting in my body. And I know that this is a very important thing that we all should be considering. What are we putting inside of our bodies, and how are we moving? But let me get back to this, the Healthy Living Expo coming to Virginia Beach. This is what I'm really excited about, is that this event, this flagship event, it's the first one, and I'm calling it the first annual Healthy Living Expo in Virginia Beach, because I have the intentionality to, I really deeply desire for it to be a success, so that it comes back year after year, so that people begin to associate Virginia Beach as a healthy living and wellness destination. You know, they're not just coming here for, you know, vacation and partying and spring break and all that. No, when people think about Virginia Beach, you know, of course, the Hampton Roads area, most people, you know, a lot of people know it as being a military town, but and then Virginia Beach specifically being a resort and party and beach, you know, coastal destination. But we need to add and maybe even override some of those things. We can't override the military thing, of course, that's just here to stay. But I mean, override the less healthy, less wholesome aspects of what Virginia Beach can be. And so what I mean by that is that, you know, people should be associating Virginia Beach, identifying it with a wellness destination. And that's why I'm really excited about this Healthy Living Expo that is coming to town, May 2nd and May 3rd. So I'm going to wrap this up for right now. I'm going to be putting out a lot of this and talking about this a lot more. It's going to take over all of my feeds, all of my social media, all of my podcasts. I'm going to put on several of my websites talking about this. And you can find more information about Healthy Living EXPOVB.com. And so if you are a brand, if you are an organization, a business, there are various different ways that you can partner, you can participate, you can support, you can get involved in the Healthy Living Expo coming to Virginia Beach May 2nd and May 3rd. You can gain more visibility, let people know about your organization, what type of healthy living and wellness services and products you have to offer. This is a great opportunity all around. And so I encourage people to, once again, go to healthylivingexpovb.com and find out some more information about that. I know that there were things that I left out, but I'm just really excited about how, you know, I've been looking at, you know, KappaGuerra, my style, being an alternative party to the parties that people are normally thinking about doing, and having these organizations where we basically get together and just like how people get together and do pickup basketball games. You know, we're going to get together at parks and different places and just do pickup capoeira and do it for fun. Feel the rhythm, dance to the music, play some games, you know, get that workout and get your body flowing and moving, and change the idea of what people normally think of as martial arts and capoeira and all this, from this whole teacher-student experience to, you know, we're a team, we're getting together to have fun, and while we're having fun, we're dancing, we're moving our bodies, we're getting exercise, we're doing something that's good for us. And I know this for a fact just because of, again, like how my body is able to move right now. And so parallel to that is the thinking of how I'm looking at this Healthy Living Expo that's coming to Virginia Beach May 2nd and May 3rd. And yes, I'm repeating it over and over again, healthylivingexpovb.com, because that is the vision that I have for it. It's not, I didn't put on the event. It's not my event, but I'm excited about it because this is so in alignment with what I'm all about. I mean, one of my websites that's been online since 2007, my first one has been online since 2006, so 20 years now, is called, the one online 20 years now is eym.hypnoathletics.com. It's my site, hypnoathletics.com. And the second one in 2007 is called exercisingyourmind.com, research.exercisingyourmind.com. And the title on the website, it says Wealth Attraction Research. Great health is the truest of all wealth. And one of my mission statements for Hypnoathletics was, Hypnoathletics is exercising your mind towards universal harmony and spiritual wisdom through healthy living and self-defense. This is my jam. This is what I'm about. This is what I've been about for, at least you can track it online, for 20 years. But I know that I've been doing it for 34 years, capoeira. But even before that, I mean, 1992, I was a 15-year-old. And, you know, so, but I've been doing it I've been practicing martial arts and been an athlete and riding my bike and climbing trees well before that. But we can settle on 20 years because that's what you can track online. But I'm so in alignment with this. I'm so excited about this, and this is all I'm going to be talking about up until the day and beyond the Healthy Living Expo. So HealthyLivingExpoVB.com. I am Hakeem Ali-Bocas Alexander.